విజయవాడలో మధ్యవర్తిత్వంపై రాష్ట్ర స్థాయి చర్చా సమావేశం జరిగింది. ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి ముఖ్య అతిథిగా సుప్రీంకోర్టు ప్రధాన న్యాయమూర్తి జస్టిస్ సూర్యకాంత్ హాజరయ్యారు. ఇప్పుడు ఆయన మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. లైవ్ చూద్దాం.
Years old, the entire history will speak how mediation has been always a very effective mode of dispute resolution. All of you know Lord Krishna is quoted as the first a codified mediator who tried to resolve between the two warring groups. That story where Lord Krishna failed to mediate between the two warring groups also tells one thing which really puts us into introspection, and how then it becomes important for us to really emphasize on mediation. Because the two warring group, despite intervention by Lord Krishna, failed to mediate and resolve their dispute. All of you know what happened, Mahabharata. And therefore, this is how the two neighbors, to the people, two groups, they start fighting. And unless we have an effective mediation, this fight continues for decades and decades. And going by our system, where the courts are burdened with so much litigation, and there are multiple factors, the amount of court cases which are flowing, and the people are preferring to come to the courts, it is not possible for us to fix a timeline within which the matters can be resolved. Of course, most of the matters like family disputes or the commercial disputes, now that we have specialized courts, we are able to resolve those disputes. But there are certain matters which remain pending for quite some time. So in that kind of scenario, the mediation becomes a very, very effective tool for a resolution for us. Now the question that arises about mediation is that let us first of all feel with lot of immense satisfaction that mediation has now a structured statute with the passage of the Mediation Act of 2023. Now that we have a statutory backup, and even the mediation resulted into some kind of settlement, those can also be now taken as enforceable decree. That itself is a very welcome step for encouraging mediation. The second thing about the mediation, that how to ensure that it becomes continue to be popularized. Three things, my dear friends, particularly the trained mediators, that we always need to keep in mind. One, the first of all, the parties must have trust and faith in the mediator. So it is extremely important that whosoever is appointed as a mediator, the parties take him seriously and they show that they have faith and trust in that mediator. So the choice of mediator is a very, very crucial factor. And the entire training program, particularly by the institutes like the State Legal Service Authority or the High Court Legal Aid Committees or any mediation committees which the High Courts have constituted, it's extremely important to select and panel the mediators. The second is the faith in the institution where the mediator is appointed. As all of you know, that judiciary is still trusted as one of the most faithful institution by the common citizenry of this country. And that is the reason when I was saying that there is a lot of inflow of litigation, because people trust judiciary. So therefore, if the mediation is initiated from the side of the judiciary, the adaptability and acceptability will be much more as compared to the private platforms coming in the field of mediation. Therefore, I take it as an earnest duty of the judiciary to promote mediation, because yours is a platform which is trusted by the people of this country. And once you promote, then people will wholeheartedly accept it and the outcome will be very encouraging. The third thing, which is equally important, is the enforceability of the mediation terms and conditions once the parties settle down. And therefore that endeavor is also on the judiciary, that how we convert those mediated resolutions into the binding kind of orders or the decrees between the parties. And therefore that takes care of the doubt of on the outcome, final outcome on the mediation, as well as the uncertainty sometimes which leads to about the final outcome of a mediation, that also is effectively addressed once we have a mechanism to enforce those mediated orders. I must tell you that the mediation is now a very preferred way of dispute resolution, not only in India, but on the global map. When I took over as executive chairperson of the National Legal Service Authority, by that time I had an experience of, the first-hand experience I would say, of seeing how mediation is getting popularized at different parts